There is a student at your school who hasn't been in class since 2019, and their grades keep getting better. Not passing better, not catching up. Better perfect like the test was written around their answers, no crossed out words, no pressure marks, no hesitation, just clean, precise responses in handwriting that looks almost human, but not quite. Not when you stare at it long enough. Nobody turns their work in. It just appears in the folder, already graded. Sometimes, before the teacher even sat down, a 7th grade science teacher in Central Ohio noticed the name on his roster. In late February 2022, he was certain he'd never seen it. He knew every student the way teachers do after enough years, but this name he didn't recognize. He checked the records. The name had been marked present every single day since the start of the year in his own handwriting, his own initials next to each mark. He looked at those initials for a long time. They looked like his, but he had no memory of writing them. Not once he called the office. The secretary said she'd pull the file. When she called back, her voice was different, flatter, like she'd stepped away, and someone else had answered. She said the student had a documented medical absence beginning March 2019 and had never returned. He asked what the student looked like. She paused. 11 seconds. He counted. She said, average height, average build, the kind of face that doesn't stick. He asked for a photo. The call dropped that night. He checked the gradebook, third in the class, 98.4 average. Not a single missing assignment. Every comment field said submitted on time. Good work. In a font that changed every time he flagged it. By the time he got to school, the flag was gone. The comments were gone. Like someone had pressed the room back into shape overnight, he never flagged it again. A senior English class. Northern Georgia. Fall of 2023. A girl named Simone started noticing something off with attendance. Not wrong, obvious, just wrong. By a fraction, like a recording that stuttered on one specific name. The teacher's mouth would open and the name would come out, but Simone said it sounded borrowed for just that syllable and returned the moment it was over. She started sitting near the empty desk. Not any desk, just the one that felt occupied. One afternoon during independent reading, she watched a paper slide from the edge of that desk. No hand reached for it. Nobody moved it, just exhaled itself out from underneath. The teacher collected it with the rest highest mark in the room. Simone asked after class. Who sits there? The teacher said. A student who's been out sick for a while, Simone said. Since when? The teacher said since before you got here, Simone said. I've been here since 6th grade. The teacher said yes and changed the subject. Simone found a photo in the yearbook. Archives 2018, second row, third from the left, looking just slightly to the left of the camera. Not at it, not away, just off, like someone had described what a lens was, but hadn't explained what eyes were supposed to do. The photo behind it was dated 2023. Same face, same angle, same slight turn, same light, sitting on their skin like it couldn't quite grip. She sent us both the 2023 image's metadata, showed it was taken on a Tuesday in September, a Tuesday that was a school holiday. The building was closed, the photographer wasn't booked for another week. We don't know when that photo was taken. A father in western Pennsylvania. His daughter told him about the kid who was never there but always won the academic award. Every honor roll assembly. Name called first chair in the auditorium, pressed flat like someone had just stood up, but empty every time he called the district 3 times. The third call, a woman he'd never spoken to told him. Some students receive remote accommodations, and that further inquiries required a written request to legal. He submitted it 2 weeks later. 1 paragraph. The student had been on homebound instruction since spring 2019, all submissions certified by the overseeing educational coordinator. He called the number listed for the coordinator disconnected. The name didn't appear in any staff directory, not in any archived version. Going back as far as the records existed, we called that number. A week later, someone answered they didn't speak, just held the line. We asked for the coordinator by name. There was a sound, not static, not breathing, just pressure, like the space on the other end had become very small. Then a voice said, "They're not behind," and hung up. Since then, 4 teachers across 3 states have found completed test papers on their desks before the exam existed, before it was printed. In one case, before the questions had been written anywhere except inside the teacher's own notebook that no one else had seen. All correct in pencil and handwriting that looked almost like the teacher's own, but too controlled, too even, like someone had studied every curve and was still practicing how hard to press. We don't know what this is. We don't know if this student exists, the way you and I exist, or if the name is something else, something that learned how to pass a test before it figured out how to use a door. What we do know is this: in every school where the name appears, students have been quietly disappearing, not in a way that triggers alerts, just 1 or 2 a semester present, and then not whose records show perfect attendance right up until the week they stop coming, and not a single missing assignment, all turned in on time. Good work in a font. Nobody can place. If you're a teacher and there's a name on your roster, you can't picture. Don't cross it out. Don't bring it up at a staff meeting. If you're a student and there's a desk that feels heavier than the others, don't sit in it. Don't touch what's inside. And if you're called to the office and asked to describe a classmate you don't remember, stop talking immediately, because whatever is using that name has been absent since 2019.